I'm joined now by artist Cassandra Korpenning. Cassandra, thank you so much for being here. You dabble in all kinds of different art and different mediums, but you focus mostly on gourd art. How does one even start making gourds into beautiful things?
I just came across him one day when I was walking with a friend at his aunt's house, and I took him and started doing birdhouses. And then I had went to an Indiana State show for gourds, and I saw all the things you could do with them, and it's basically went from there.
Okay, so there's an Indiana State show for gourds?
Yes,
And is it all works of art, or is it people just showing off the size of the gourds? What does this type of show entail?
it is everything you could imagine done with gourds, painted, beaded, carved, everything.
That's incredible. Okay, so talk to me a little bit about the logistics of working with a gourd. I'm embarrassed to say I don't even know what the inside of a gourd looks like. It's not like a pumpkin or a squash, right? It doesn't have the guts, or does it? So how do you get it ready to make it art?
It has the guts and seeds inside of it.
Okay.
So it's a whole process of cleaning and carving, and I save most of the guts, and I've been working with that lately. I've never really seen anyone do anything with those. You have to wear a mask because of the mold on it. You know, they're just so filthy and ugly, and then you come out with something just amazing.
So how do you go about cleaning the gourd? You said it's kind of an intense process, so what is that like?
I have to wear gloves and a mask to protect you from all the mold. You use a lot of bleach and scouring pads, and then once you've let it dry, you can start carving on it.
So is it a matter of you find an inconspicuous spot to cut it open? And
Most of the time, unless I'm going to do a whole, like my last giraffe, I mean, I just started cutting them in half. And,
yeah.
you just go from there.
Okay, so let's talk about that. You started with birdhouses with smaller pieces. You've moved on. Now you are making these animals that are so cool, and I literally looked at them and thought, that's got to be like paper mache or something. No, they're gourds. Okay, so how did that process get started?
I don't know. I just kind of look at them and I think, you could definitely be something. And I don't really know how I do it. I just do.
The giraffe that you made is tall.
It's huge.
Yeah, how, okay, tell me about the logistics of that.
It's probably about 3.5 foot tall, and that took me 6 different gourds. And I know for the mane, I used the guts because I've never saw anyone do it with that.
Yeah, and what is that, how does that work?
You do the same process, bleach it and dry it, and they're more pliable, and you can pretty much shape whatever you want.
Wow, okay, so now that you've told me a little bit more about the structure, before I move on to painting them, when it comes to the structure, do you sketch it out first, or do you just kind of have an idea in your mind of how it's going to go together? And then for like the giraffe, when you cut different pieces, how do you adhere them to each other? Obviously, I cannot wrap my brain around how all of this works.
I usually do not sketch my gourds out.
Okay.
I did for a bowl that I had done for a lady that was going for cancer surgery because it was a specific asked idea to have. But no, usually I just have it in my head and go from there. And how I put them together, I'd hate to say exactly what I use.
Okay, proprietary, got it.
But I use many things.
Okay, and then is it just the gourds that are holding the shape together, or do you have another structure, a wire or something?
I have a few different things,
Okay.
that I use to keep them together.
So once you have made that structure, now you move on to the painting. How did you get good at that? I mean, your stuff is cool and beautiful, and do you just dabble in it and figure it out?
I've been painting since I was a little kid, so I think that's what's so intriguing with the gourds to me is I can take my painting and put it on to this 3D object.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that ever frustrating when you go from, working on a flat surface to now having these curves and nuances? Does that change the way you have to look at it.
Absolutely. And I've broken many trying to do it.
Oh, are they, especially when they're dry then, are they fragile?
No, I would just say in between trying to put them together and painting, you just say, okay, I'm done with you and move on to the next one.
So if they break, that's one thing, but do you ever have moments where you just flat out don't like it, it's not the idea you had in your head, and you kind of abandon ship?
Once or twice, but then I'll turn it into something else. I never want to waste a gourd.
What all do you make or have you made? You, like I mentioned, there's lots of wildlife. There's herons. I think I saw a sloth. You have the giraffe. But you also mentioned bowls. What else do you make?
I've made a few clowns recently. I'll make
right.
masks.
Yeah.
I'm really into the lake birds and stuff, though. I also paint birds.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just something I like.
You obviously are inspired by nature and wildlife, but what else inspires you? What else gives you an idea to take this, what is not a piece of art, and make it into one?
I think my daughter's ability to make me do something greater. She just thinks it's the greatest thing in the world, and she's a painter also. She's following right in my footsteps, that's for sure. She's 6, and she does great things. But having her right there, and she helps me get ideas, and if it's just not right, she'll be sure to let me know about it.
They always do.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. How has your work changed from when you very first began to now? Have you evolved and gotten better?
I think my ideas have definitely went farther than starting from the birdhouse to exotic animals and other things I can find to add to the gourd. That's what people ask me the most about, is what it's made of, how'd you come up with the idea, and I really don't know how to tell them, I just do.
Are you constantly thinking of ideas? Is that sort of how you see the world now? Something cool and you go, oh, I could use a gourd and make that.
Yes, definitely. I think I've done that since I was little, though. You know, you
Okay.
go to a Goodwill or a garage sale and you think, oh my gosh, they're throwing this away and I could turn it into something great. So I've added that into my gourds.
What is the hardest part about working with the gourds, making, as you have said many times, something that's moldy and ugly into something really cool? What's the hardest part of that?
Probably the cleaning it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so this is another thing I didn't know. Are all gourds moldy? Is that a thing?
You can purchase them online where they're not, but I grow my own. I have about 2 acres that we're growing them on this year. And I've started to grow loofah too, which most people say, what's loofah?
Yeah.
And you know, loofah's like
Yeah.
what you would take a shower with, so those are gourds also. And we're doing that this year, so. When I grow them, when they cure, I have to clean them. And that is definitely the hardest part.
How long does that process take? How long does it take to plant them, get a mature one, and then clean it from start to finish?
We planted early in the spring. They'll be done mid-fall, and they have to cure all winter long. So it's a long process to even get a gourd.
Okay, this is another probably stupid question, but forgive me. What, aside from making beautiful art, what do people generally do with gourds? I mean, you see them in the fall, like for decoration. But does one eat a gourd?
I think there are edible gourds. I'm not really looking to eat them, but I also know people, you can make bowls that you can eat out of. I'm starting to make water vessels. I've been researching that. So, you know, people that like more natural things, I'm going to do some water bottles that I'll line with beeswax. And
So when it comes to, okay, you line with beeswax. Is that the kind of thing that you find online? Is that research readily available? I wouldn't even know where to begin.
yes, and I definitely make my way to the public library and find many things. And my son, he is definitely a help when it comes to research. He's a book king. He'll research anything.
So you're interested in making these vessels now. What else? Do you have more ideas that you're excited to kind of dive into?
I think my ideas probably won't stop.
Yeah.
I just, as soon as I see a gourd, if it needs to be something, that's what I'm gonna do.
Do the gourds tell you what they're going to be based on their specific shape, or can you pretty much make any idea work with any gourd?
I think I look at a gourd and most of the time it tells me, but like with the giraffe, I had the idea, so I had to seek out the gourds for it.
And where did that idea come from? Again, because when I'm thinking of a giraffe, I'm not thinking, oh, I could definitely construct that out of gourd.
I think it was a challenge, to challenge myself to do something that I have not seen anyone else do.
Yeah. When it comes to working with the guts, as you mentioned a few times, is that something that you want to continue to work with, or have you satisfied that need with the giraffe and other pieces?
I think I'll use them as many times as I can because it's free and there's no need to just get rid of it.
Yeah.
And it turned out great.
Cassandra, you are fascinating. Thank you so much for bringing your art into the world, and thank you for taking the time to sit with me today.
Thank you.
Arts in Focus on PBS Fort Wayne is funded in part by the Our Foundation and the Community Foundation of Greater Fort Wayne.